Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the stream. What's going on, Mason? Guys, let me know in the chat what you guys are watching. But so far today, it seems like a pretty decent recovery, actually, out of the overall market. We can see we have the SPY kind of picking back up. It kind of hit that kind of support area down there around 414. Yesterday, it ended up coming up this morning in pre-market, hitting the high around like 417.20. 417.30. It honestly looks pretty decent right now for recovery back up. We're going to have to see how this open can go. Looks like at open, we're initially seeing a couple red candles come into the market. What's up, Rad or Fish? TRCH, he says. Let's go check it out. TRCH. Guys, let me know what you guys are watching. What's the hot stocks for today? But TRCH is looking pretty awesome, actually. Really flying up to 1020 today in pre-market, actually flying way up. Looking at the daily, TRCH is honestly starting to look pretty hot. It really broke out above that $5 area and just shot up. So honestly, I really like the setup on TRCH, and I would not be surprised if this one continued its momentum up this morning. But overall, pretty good moves out of the market here so far this morning. And that's all we can really ask for, is that if the market starts to recover back up a little bit, that'll definitely help out a lot of people. We have Corbin saying he's watching AAPL. Let's go check it out. Apple. I know Apple has been pretty decent the past couple days with tech doing well, but it looks like this morning it has posted some green early on, but it looks like it was kind of flat, to kind of open the day. We haven't seen too much good momentum yet. I think once we see it break up through like 131, we'll see a pretty good move to the upside, but I think we'll just have to see and wait on Apple. Looks like it's going to be kind of a volatile mover to just flat today. Looks like the overall market is just kind of sitting down, very slightly flat to down. The QQQ looks like it is falling a little bit here after open. Not a good sign at all. The QQQ is always a big sign with the overall market. Whenever we go check out like Microsoft, even Microsoft is down too. Apple was starting to go red. Let's go check out some of these growth stocks today, like Palantir, for example. They're even red. Zoom is pulling back a little bit. DraftKings, let's go check them out. They're going a little red. Baba going red as well. What about the airlines? We got American Airlines going red. Possibly some bad news there. We have the SPY still pulling back. So overall, seems like a pretty bad day for the market. The SPY was pulling up, though, earlier in the morning. And now that the market's open, it is pulling back. So we'll have to see how this type of movement can continue. But I'm going to be honest, guys. Like last week was not a good week for Apple. I mean, for the overall market, we saw the SPY really start to pull back, and it was a pretty bad move. We have the DIA really pulling back on the daily. I mean, the DIA is just straight pulling back here. Definitely not a good sign. Hunter says, let's go. Yeah, let's go, Hunter. Let's get these stocks going, get them moving today. Definitely a strange day so far. But, even if we go look at like AMC is just doing nothing. I was kind of hoping that they would start to break out today since they were above $60. But it looks like they are just flat here so far. There's definitely continued movement that could happen, and we could see continued movement out of AMC. But as of right now, it looks a little flat on the daily and intraday so far, but looks like we will start to maybe head up towards $64 later on today. We'll just have to see how the movement goes, and if it can kind of hold these SMAs here around $61, I think that'll be a really key level for that stock. And We have Christopher saying TRCH to the moon. Let's go check it out. TRCH still going up. Yeah, up to like 927. I know that right on open they were flying up. Looks like they are kind of getting some red candles now, but man, this has definitely been the hot stock over the past couple days, and definitely look for this one to continue up. I think it could definitely happen. We have B saying to check out the NASDAQ, which is the QQQ or /NQ if you're on Thinkorswim. But yeah, /NQ not looking good so far today. That's honestly not the best looking move in the world. You know, it is starting to come down a little bit. I guess that is a little bit expected. We can't have the market just flying up every day or kind of recovering up too well. And one thing to keep in mind is that the NASDAQ was doing very well last week. It was going up a lot while the SPY and the Dow were falling. So just keep that in mind, that maybe the NASDAQ might have to catch up and come down a little bit. But whenever we go look at Dow futures on the chart, the Dow futures actually are up today on the 5-minute chart. Dow is actually recovering up quite nicely. Let's go to DIA. Check that out. I know it's up 0.5%, so not the biggest move in the world, but even on the 1-minute chart, at open, there's some very slight red candles, but overall the Dow is still doing decent. So seems like the Dow recovered up today while the NASDAQ is kind of pulling back pretty hard. And man, that's definitely a weird scenario. You know, over the past few weeks, we've been kind of seeing the opposite go on, and that's definitely a bad sign to see now the QQQ falling to its new daily lows. Right now, just breaking down below 341. Man, this is definitely turning into a little bit of a sell-off here at open, and we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on the QQQ and the NASDAQ as we go forward today, because there's definitely some big moves out of this, and man, that's crazy. But let's go see. Let's see. We have Justin saying, "Good morning, everybody." Good morning, Justin. Have a good. I hope you had a good weekend, man. You know, it's been definitely a crazy open so far. We have Kay saying, "Shop is still hot, hot, hot," and puts a laughing face. Let's go check it out. Shopify, yeah, it is still hot. Look at that. Moved up again, up another percent today. Another green candle, and man, it seems like Shopify just does not stop. Actually, there's a big resistance here, right around $1,500, and man, definitely watch for Shopify to hit something and possibly come back down. I mean, this could be a crazy move. I mean, man, Shopify has been doing so well the past few days, and now we're starting to see a pretty solid pullback here so far at open, and it's definitely getting to be a little bit strange of a pullback here out of Shopify, out of the whole tech sector. So guys, definitely let me know what you're looking. Vicky says it's value day. We have Jerry saying to check out Amazon. Let's go check it out real quick. We have AMZN falling off the table, and wow, Amazon's really coming down below some of the key SMAs and just selling straight off below those. And I'll be honest, on the daily, it's not looking good. You know, Amazon got up to some of those resistances and is just coming down now. I'm not saying it looks terrible, but I'm just saying for the next couple days, it looks like it could, pull back just a little bit and then maybe start to go up, a couple weeks later. But it doesn't seem the best right now, especially intraday. I feel like there's a good support down here around like 34.50, and we're getting pretty close to that. Vicky, let me know what type of value stocks you're looking at today. Let's go check some out. We got like KO popping up, looking pretty nice. Let's go check out them banks. Are they coming back? Look at that. Bank of America coming back from the lows there. They started to fall below 40 a share and just, man, they sold off hard. JP Morgan, same story. Sell off now they're recovering back up. Goldman Sachs recovering up as well. So this is awesome, actually. You see the banks doing well. Yeah, thanks, Vicky. It's the banks. And man, they are on fire, which is really helping out the Dow today, /YM or DIA. Look at this big green candle actually on the Dow futures, really sending it up. Let's go see how DIA is looking. And yeah, DIA also caught that big green candle. Very nice to see. I wonder if the SPY is getting that as well. And the SPY caught a very slight green candle. How about the QQQ? Let's go check out how that one's kind of holding up compared to the Dow, and looks like the QQQ is continuing to sell off while the Dow is coming back. So wow, crazy turn of events from the end of last week. We saw tech flying up to end the week last week, and now this week it's the exact opposite. Definitely not a good sign right now. Getting a little worrisome for the overall market, but man, it's just not a good sign. The QQQ looks like it could start to really fall off right now. I have Adam saying, "Can you check out Airbnb?" Sure thing. Let's go check it out. Airbnb, and guys, let me know if you want to see any setups, any stocks, you want me to talk about any options or anything like that, I can get into anything for you guys. But Airbnb is looking very nice actually. For the longer term to like a decent swing, I should say. In the shorter term, looks like it is coming down to a nice support here around 148. It kind of looks pretty bearish today. It might be able to break that support of 148, and I would not be surprised if we did that. But I do like Airbnb still over the next couple of months, even if it pulls back a little bit and retests. Even if it retests 130, I'm still going to be bullish over the next couple of months. I think it will kind of hold these general levels here and then go up. You know, if you're timing options, that can be a big deal. But I think like averaging into shares right now or getting some shares can be really good for Airbnb. I really like it, Adam. But I will say that the intraday setup right now looks a little bearish, but it is holding up above that support still. So hopefully we can hold that. And we have Kay saying, "What's up with this sell-off?" And Kay, it looks like overall it's just a bunch of tech stocks selling off today. And you know, we saw last week tech stocks really held up, you know, to kind of end the week. And you know, now we're seeing Tesla selling off. We got NIO, I'm sure, is selling off too. Yeah, NIO down 3%. Even like Palantir down 3%, and Zoom down almost 3%. You know, we're just seeing all these good stocks that were going up last week. DraftKings even is down. They're just all down right now, and I think that's the main reason for the sell-off, of course. And let's go check out something even like Nvidia, you know, something that's really been flying and has had a lot of momentum lately, and even they're down a lot today, down 2.6%. And from the high of Friday at 775, they're actually down quite a bit. And on the daily, it looks like Nvidia might start to pull back here from these highs. And you know, I think they might pull back and then start to run up into that split. Let me know how you feel about Nvidia heading into the split in the comments down below. But I think it seems like a pretty good setup, to be honest. And man, looking at like the 5-day 5-minute, it's actually bouncing off of some supports and off of some SMAs, and hopefully we can hold here. But it does not look good in the short term, like we're kind of seeing with the overall market. And A Augusta says closed FAZ on Friday before close. Thank God. And yeah, I remember you talking about this one. Good thing you closed it. That's a pretty good thing you did there. You know, those banks really started to come back. So good move there. I'm glad you closed that position, and good play on that ETF. I mean, it's never easy to trade a 3x leverage ETF like a bear or a bullish. It's pretty easy to get in a good direction if it's, you know, if it's things are moving pretty volatile. But normally 3x leverage is pretty hard to trade, and good job, you know, kind of catching that nice uptrend there. Honestly, pretty decent trade. But then going forward, we have Sean saying CAT looks ready for a day trade. Let's go check it out. Sean, it does actually. It looks pretty decent. There is a pretty well, there is a resistance coming up here around like 216. So I'd be a little careful of that. But you know, the big thing right now is just, I would say, the overall market. And you know, a cat is a Dow stock, so you're seeing the Dow really fly up today. And you know, we've been seeing day after day the market just is going kind of haywire. You know, so these tech stocks are up one day, the Dow's up the next, and they're just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. So definitely be a little careful with the cat and the Dow. But I think the cat could definitely be a pretty good day trade. Just be careful. There is resistance coming up around 215 to 216. So just keep that in mind. And then Vicky listed off a ton of stocks for me to check out here. We have DE. Let's go check it out. Deere. Okay, John Deere. Yeah, doing pretty well today. Nice one. FCX. Let's check this value stock out. Freeport. I actually don't know this one. I've traded it before. I don't know their technical or their fundamentals, I should say, but looks pretty good actually. Bouncing off that support right around 35. This setup actually looks pretty decent. We have US Steel kind of popping up today. I know they were doing pretty well over the past like month to 2 months, and they're pulling back pretty hard now. They actually pulled right back to the 100 SMA. So I wonder if we could start to see a pretty decent pop back up, maybe like $25. That could be a pretty good safe trade if that could happen for us. And Vicky, what else do you have? ODFL, LYV. Let's go check out ODFL really quick. ODFL. Old Dominion Freight. Wow, yeah, I see these guys everywhere. Yeah, wow, on the daily they've done very well. It almost reminds me of a setup kind of like UPS. I think that they're kind of thrown into that yeah, they're kind of like thrown into that same setup, same same sector of like shipping and receiving and stuff like that. But yeah, ODFL definitely looks pretty decent for recovery back up, especially on the daily. I mean, the daily looks really good actually. They're right on support at like 245, so pretty good actually out of that one. And then she says UPS, which yeah, the UPS is a no-brainer. Vale actually looks pretty good as well, kind of flying up. So yeah, all those stocks look like they're in pretty decent setups, and man, those are pretty good, Vicky. Definitely keep your eyes on those. And honestly, let's go check out the SPY again. Check out that overall market. Just kind of do a double take here. See how the SPY is moving. You know, we were down a little bit earlier. It's actually pretty good to see. You know, look at this. We have some green candles coming back into the market. Pretty good movement. Kind of holding its ground so far. Hopefully it can hold here. We're catching some green momentum on the 1 minute. Kind of coming up here on the SPY. So hopefully SPY can kind of shake off these jitters we had it open. You know, we can see how the market kind of fell down, coming back a little bit now. So hopefully we can see that. And man, this is oh, you're good, Vicky. I was just looking at them all. Honestly, seemed like a pretty good plays there. But yeah, Hunter says FSLY, Mr. Tommy Tenders, good sir. Yeah, let's go check it out, Hunter. FSLY, wow, really selling off. Starting to come back though. You know, this one will be probably pretty good for some cash secure puts, Hunter. Oh, if we keep seeing some red, but seems pretty good honestly intraday. If we can continue this momentum back to the upside, looks like we've hit some SMAs and we are kind of around support as well. So not the worst moves in the world. And guys, there is some storms going on at my house. So if you guys hear some thunder or I cut out really quick or something, just keep in mind that you know, it was the storm. So just keep that in mind moving forward. But man, FSLY seemed pretty good. We have Manny Money. Reminds me of Floyd Money Mayweather, but we have Manny Money saying, thoughts on SFIX calls or puts? Let's go check it out. Stitch Fix. Yeah, Stitch Fix, I actually liked it for calls a little while ago, but yeah, right now it is kind of pulling back. I will say it was better for calls when it was kind of filling that gap and everything like that. But I will say it is consolidating along the 100 SMA here. I would be more neutral than anything right now. It looks like there's two options, obviously. It's either going to go up or down, but seems like we're like right around this key support around $60. It's hard to tell if we're going to hold this and start to come back up or if we're going to start to break down below here. And personally, it kind of looks like it's going to hold this and come up, at least so far today. But we'll just have to see how the movement continues to go. But honestly, I would say go to the upside on Stitch Fix, but it's kind of hard to say. You know, looking at the daily, like I said, I would be more of neutral on it than anything. I think that there's some better ways to go. We have B saying, why tech stocks crashing? So honestly, the tech stocks are probably selling off because of what's been going on with Powell and just straight up inflation and everything like that. Plus, keep in mind that tech stocks are up quite a bit. You know, the big ones like Apple and some of those other ones, they were moving kind of slow. You know, we saw them kind of, you know, failing to recover back up nicely and stuff like that. But then at the other side, we have ones like Nvidia that were at all-time highs at like 775. You know, we had like Palantir, you know, really coming back on the daily. Zoom recovering up nicely. Enphase recovering up nicely as well. Even like RUN, you know, everything was recovering up nicely, and now they're all just pulling back a little bit. That's the main thing to look at here, is that they're all just kind of pulling back. So it's not like the worst move in the world here. So just keep in mind, they're not necessarily like crashing. They're just like pulling back a little bit. Like if we go look at like Apple today, you know, sure, Apple's down 0.8%, but you know, over the past like couple weeks, they're still up off of these lows around like 122, 123. So it's not too bad, but give me 1 second. I had to grab a quick drink there, but man, just going forward today, the sell-off just seems like it's continuing a little bit. You know, Apple's continuing to go down, QQQ continuing to fall off. Hunter says he got cash secure puts on Fastly, so nice one, Hunter. I think that's a pretty good setup there, actually. Anytime you get cash secure puts on a setup like that, always a decent option to go for. Definitely not bad. And Kay saying, I thought Tesla was about to take off last week, but man, it's falling off a cliff this morning. Let's go check it out, Kay. You know, I'll be honest, the Tesla setup on the daily is still not the best. to me, it's not going to be the best until it's able to break through the upper blue trend line right here. Once it's able to break through this trend line and move up, I think it'll be decent. Until it does that, though, I have a bad feeling that we might, we might just keep seeing these stocks sell off, or at least Tesla might keep selling off. People were short Tesla. They're kind of expecting it to go down. I'd be very curious. Michael Burry was short Tesla a while ago, and let me know in the chat if you guys think Burry is still short or not, because man, that was a pretty big drop from 900 down to around 600. And if he was short that whole time, he could have made quite a bit of money, especially on the initial drop when that IV really shot up. He could have made quite a bit if he would have been into some puts during that time. But, nobody was expecting that drop besides a few people like him. So we'll have to see if he's still holding. But if he is, I have a bad feeling about Tesla, at least in the short term. In the long run, I love Tesla, okay? But in the short term, anything can happen. And we have Trillia saying, let's see, we have Trillia the Troll Master saying IKT with some rockets. So let's go check it out. IKT. Yeah, actually I don't like this one too much. I will say it looks like it could really recover back up though. It does not look bad by any means. On the 1 year daily, looks pretty decent. On the 5-day 15-minute, looks like it's holding the support pretty well. Overall, not my favorite setup, but as long as it can just kind of continue to hold these supports, we might be okay with it. We'll just have to see kind of like how this movement can kind of going forward. But man, I mean, it's just not a stock for me. It definitely got killed this year. I don't know if there's some type of fundamentals or something that they're doing behind this, but man, Betty says, morning everyone, TRCH squeeze still did not start yet. So let's go check out TRCH coming up to around $10 today. Really flying. Let's look at this one coming right up to the resistance here around 10. Can we break out? I have a good feeling we can. Everyone's talking about it, so hopefully we can see that happen. Betty says shorts are forced to cover by tomorrow. Dividend is issued as a preferred share, thus why they must cover, and we will squeeze. So wow, very nice info, Betty. Good information there about the dividend being issued. So that's a pretty good thing there to see that they'll have to cover on some of those, and hopefully that'll honestly set this up pretty well. It's having some trouble breaking $10 right now, but man, it looks hot today. Hopefully it can keep running up. I'm just gonna sit on here for like a couple of minutes and just kind of see how it's going. We have Trillia saying IKT again. IKT. It seems like, yeah, IKT. I don't know, Trillia. Like, let me know, like, what's going on with IKT. Is do they have it kind of seemed like they had a huge sell-off, like something bad happened, and who knows, maybe they'll recover back, but didn't seem the best right there. Who knows? But wow, there we go. Finally, TRCH up through $10 a share, looking like a very good mover this morning, moving up to 1030, 1050 right now. Look at that. Rad said TRCH was going to move. I think he was right. It's definitely starting to move right now. That's a pretty solid setup here. We have an actor saying money rotating into Boeing. Let's go check out Boeing really quick. Yeah, I mean, I'd say people are buying up Boeing down here. It actually looks decent off the SMA, like a little decent little pullback here, like a pretty decent dip buy right now, to be honest. I'll say Boeing does not look bad for shares. I would say get shares over options on Boeing, because Boeing can be such a volatile mover. But man, I love shares because you can then sell covered calls and everything like that on the way up as well. So just keep that in mind. Or you can sell some puts on Boeing if you can. I think that'd be the smarter way to go. But going back to TRCH, man, this thing is still flying up here around 1050. Just hit 1058 a minute ago, so seems really good. And we have Rad saying TRCH can get played by Reddit because it's above $1 billion market cap. Just an FYI. So good information there, Rad or Fish. Thank you very much. Definitely good info there. Hopefully it can keep going though, up to 1080 now. I love the movement out of TRCH, and man, people are really hyping this one up, and wow, it seems like it definitely could start to squeeze here with that kind of hype just flying in. It's honestly looking pretty good. So hopefully TRCH can just continue this move. Please hit $11 or $12. I'd be pretty happy to see a good move. Let's Come on, no red candles. We want to see some green. Pump this one up. But yeah, TRCH looking pretty good here. We want to see it fly up above $11. I think that would be a pretty good move out of that one. And man, it's volatile. It's moving up and down very, very quickly. So pretty good, actually. Vicky says, I'd say MB still shorting Tesla. So, wow, yeah. So she still thinks that Michael Burry's still shorting Tesla. So, well, we'll have to see how Tesla can keep moving, Vicky. I mean, I'll be honest, that daily chart does not look good. I'll be honest. It just does not look good, especially with the sell-off today. It makes it look even worse. And I just think that until we start to break this trend and move up, I just think Tesla's just kind of doomed still in the shorter term. I think that we could come down to the 400 support sometime over the next couple months to like 6 months, I'd say, and then possibly start to fly back up after that. But I just think in the short term, Tesla could definitely get hit a little bit. And let's go check out like what kind of news is affecting the market today. Let's go refresh this and check it out. Dow jumps 300 points, rebounds after its worst week since October. Oh, it's Amazon Prime Day. Is that today? I wonder. So yeah, I think Amazon Prime Day might be today. I don't use Amazon too much. I don't, buy things like that too often. We'll have to check out if it is Prime Day or not. And it looks like it is actually Prime Day today and tomorrow. So see if you guys can get some good deals, help Amazon stock go up. I think that'd be pretty cool. So let's hope that they can post some good Prime numbers and Amazon can continue their move to the upside. But it is strange to see them kind of falling off on Prime Day. But I'll be honest, Amazon had a good past couple weeks, and just this little pullback is not terrible by any means. Jorge says, drop a thumbs up for Solo Tom, guys. I appreciate that, Jorge. Yeah, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that if you haven't yet. Definitely would help me and Mike out a lot. And Mike will be back tomorrow. He had some technical difficulties with his microphone today, so that was the only reason he could not be on. He'd definitely be on though if Best Buy was open, but of course they open once the stream ends. So if you're mad at anybody, go get mad at BBY, which is Best Buy stock. That's their fault. So that's the main reason. But no, I'm just joking. But yeah, it looks like a pretty good dip here. Pretty good green candle, honestly, out of BBY. Kind of seems like one of those value stocks that might start to recover back up a little bit. Kind of with this small pullback that they've been having. We saw like KO, BBY, and a lot of those other stocks, even the banks like JP Morgan, starting to kind of pull back down to these supports, and it looks kind of good that they're starting to come back to the upside now. It does not look terrible by any means. We have Russ saying to check out $WISH or wish.com. Let's go check it out. Wish actually seems like a decent setup here. Seems like it could kind of keep running over the next couple of days, and wow, yeah, it has a lot of momentum today, coming back up after that early morning sell-off, I should say, and looks pretty decent actually. It's holding up off these SMAs and off support, so I like the setup out of Wish actually. And let's go back to TRCH Torchlight, see how that's moving. And man, it hit 1088 and now we're coming down all the way down to like 988. I was really hoping to see a breakthrough 11 up to like $12 or something like that, but man. And let's see, Fish says, Tom, why are torch options so weird? Like they don't move and then all of a sudden they just jump. So let me go check one out really quick. TRCH. I'll bring one up here on the chart for us just so we can kind of check one out. We'll check out a July 16th TRCH. We'll just check out a $10 call. I'll be honest, there's a lot of volume on these calls, but they're definitely not priced well. I'll say that just off of my initial glance here. They have huge spreads on them. Definitely not smart to be trading TRCH calls right now. If you want my honest opinion, I think that shares would definitely be the smarter way to go. You can go get some like in the money calls. The spreads are kind of closing up now, but man, the spreads were just at like $80 a minute ago. But man, that volume's coming into these calls quick. But here we go. You can kind of check it out on the calls on the 1 minute here. So I'm looking at the July 16th $10 calls. You can see how over the past like few minutes, I should say, TRCH kind of the calls ran from like 350 up to 458, back down to 350, back up to 450. Now they're coming back down to 350. So seems like that they've been moving to me a little bit. I don't know which ones you were looking at specifically, but they don't look terrible to me. I will say the spreads are keeping me from trading them, but the spreads kind of closed up. I was looking at like $80 spreads a minute ago. If you go any further out, like out to like August or anything, the volume gets a lot less. The open interest and stuff on the July options chain looks pretty decent if you wanted to go for that one. So that's the ones I would go for if looking at any. But let's see. I mean, TRCH might have some problems coming back up. Hopefully we can like hold this level, because it's kind of like at that perfect time for like a dip, and then kind of like for a move back to the upside. It seems like just a pretty good solid like pullback here. And then also we're coming right down to like that support right around like 970, 966. So seems pretty good, to be honest. Doesn't seem too bad. And just let me know what you're looking at, Fish. I don't know which ones you saw, but maybe you were looking at how that spread kept changing, because that spread did make it look really weird. Give me 1 second really quick, just updating a position. Alrighty, I am back, but yeah, going forward, TRCH pulling back pretty hard. Guys, let me know in the comments what you're watching. There's got to be more stocks moving today than TRCH. I know that we got SPY doing pretty decent, kind of pulling back to the upside today. Initially was selling off, not looking good, but now it's kind of moving back up. So seeing pretty good movement today, honestly. Out of the overall market, the QQQ, I'm really happy to see tech coming back. QQQ was selling off at open, breaking those daily lows, and really honestly broke that support around 342 and just kind of crashed down. But I'm glad to see this coming back up. Seems like a pretty decent recovery back to the upside, so we might be able to see a decent recovery today out of tech. Hopefully we can. Let's go see if like Apple is kind of recovering itself back, and good to see, Apple is also coming back. And man, it was definitely a bad open today. We saw things just moving down and going lower and lower, but not too bad now today. Let's go check out AMC. I've got Russ saying AMC holding 60 pretty well. Don't you think? So yeah, it is actually holding 60 pretty well. I will agree, Russ. That seems like a pretty decent setup. And man, $60 does not look bad at all. Let's go check out the daily chart. Actually, AMC not looking bad. I wonder if there's any like big money kind of flowing into any AMC calls or anything like that, because definitely looking pretty good here. Yeah, I will say holding 60 seems like a decent sign. It could still move down, keep in mind, even though it bounced off of 60, it might go right back below that. Who knows? But man, hopefully it starts to move. Hopefully my one concern I've had with AMC is, we could see some movement where people are getting into TRCH now and they're kind of selling out of AMC, but hopefully that's not the case. TRCH is moving up decently on its own and looking pretty good, without the help of AMC. So as of right now, it seems pretty good for AMC. Hopefully people aren't, getting out of it in the short term to kind of buy other stocks. And that's my main hope here, is that it can hold this level today. If not, we might see a sell-off out of this. Rad says, let's see, Rad says, I was looking at the 12.5 for July. So, okay, that might make sense then. We have Y saying DKNG, please. So let's check out DraftKings. Check it out. I know it was moving pretty well the past couple weeks, but it did start to pull back a little bit. And yeah, we can see it is starting to pull back. Not looking the best here in the short term. We are starting to see some green candles though. Today, intraday. Overall, yeah, roller coasters make me sick too, Corbin. Corbin says roller coasters make me sick. Put some funny faces there. And yeah, roller coasters make me sick too. Just definitely not a fun type of market to trade in whenever you just have like the market fly up, then fly down, then fly back up. It's just definitely a weird time to trade, especially whenever it happens at open, which seems like we have that happen so much. But those days where you catch just like solid green momentum at open or solid red momentum at open, you can start to catch those good moves if the market can just continue that way. But whenever you have the movement like today, it definitely makes it a lot harder, I should say. But man, Rad says, I bought one and I wasn't expecting the move the whole time. Then it jumped to $21 after it moved like 50 cents. Then it went up another 50 cents to 10 and jumped up to 41. then it went up like a whole dollar. So yeah, the options can definitely be crazy rad, especially whenever stocks are moving so much like TRCH was. You know, keep in mind the implied volatility on TRCH just a couple days ago was around 500%. Now we're at around 336%. So definitely have some crazy stuff going on there with these types of crazy implied volatilities. You know, I'll be honest, that moving up to 500% and then back down to 300, that's honestly a crazy move. That would scare me for the options right there. That's definitely why they're moving so much. Rad is because of those because of that implied volatility. But Dennis says he's watching TWTR or Twitter. Let's check it out. Yeah, Twitter actually held its ground. Looks like it's starting to move back to the upside, and we might start to see a breakout with Twitter. You know, we've been waiting for a breakout with this one for quite a while now, and hopefully we can start to see it fill this gap back to the upside here, up to like $63, $64. Honestly, seems like a really good setup. Let me know in the comments if you guys are still holding Twitter. You know I had Twitter a couple weeks ago, ended up taking a pretty decent win on it. I exited the first position up pretty high, and that really kept the position doing very well since I exited the first one at those highs there. But man, definitely, hopefully the stock can come up. It looks pretty good, especially on the daily, holding that like $60 support, kind of really holding up well. That looks very nice actually. Thanks Dennis for that one. It looks really good. Vicky says it seems most here are growth investors. Yeah, Vicky, of course, you know, everybody wants to make that quick buck, you know. Everybody wants to catch that big 1,000% move or couple 100% move and, you know, see those big gains. So that's the main thing is it really draws people in because there's like those big gains you can get out of like Palantir, Zoom, DraftKings, some of those other stocks like that. You can normally get some pretty big, you know, returns if you can catch them at the right times, especially like with TRCH, AMC, GME, stocks like that are like really interesting for those types of moves. Let's see how Wendy's is doing. I know that they were doing very well a couple weeks ago, and look at that. Wendy's pulled all the way back. Definitely not a good sign. Yeah, Wendy's not looking good in the short term, pulling back pretty hard. So those chicken tendies definitely, they must have went sour or something. I don't know what happened, but not looking good. Hunter says to check out COIN. Is it coming up, Hunter? No, it's not. It's falling. You're saying this for cash secure puts, I'm guessing. Yeah, probably. Honestly, seems like a pretty decent setup here for cash secure puts. And man, that I'm gonna have to check out Bitcoin, Hunter. Let's check out slash BTC. I wonder how that's moving this morning. Slash BTC really pulling back here on the daily level, back down to that 3,000 or 30,000 support. We might see it go even lower here. Not looking good out of the crypto market. I will say if you wanted them for the long term, you could catch them at that support. It might be a pretty good time. We have Kay saying Shopify, SHOP. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, actually broke out above $1,500, broke that resistance and is starting to run right now. Look at that, up to 1504 as we speak. I wonder how high this can go. Maybe 1515 over the next couple seconds. Give me 1 second. Have to grab a quick drink. Sorry about that, but yeah, looking pretty good here for Shopify. Especially over the past like few minutes. You know, we were seeing a little bit of that sell-off with tech at open, but honestly, a good move right back to the upside. Seems like a pretty decent setup, like it might keep running up. They also said to check out Roku and CMG. So yeah, Roku. Wow, yeah, Roku looking very good on the 1 year daily, really coming up here, starting to really come up towards this resistance around $400. So not looking bad at all. I will say Roku looks like a very good setup, possibly for like today or the next couple days for a pretty good swing. I love that type of setup. Let's go see CMG, see if they can move back to the upside. CMG, yeah, looking decent off support here. I like that support right around $1,300. Definitely not a bad play by any means, but it looks like a decent setup here. It almost looks like the same setup as before with like Roku, but yeah, Chipotle's always been a pretty good mover, and especially like on these types of dips, they like to come back up. Vicky says shop with a bunch of clapping hands, and yeah, Shopify has definitely been a watcher for today. Pretty big move, pretty solid setup there out of Shopify. Let's go back to the market real quick and see if there's any any more weird news coming out or any weird stuff happening. Let's see. Market volatility is back as COVID and Fed uncertainty hit the sentiment. So last week, VIX spiked more than 16%. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go check out the VIX. Let's go see how they're talking. Yeah, VIX is actually pulling back today. So I don't know why they have that on the front page of CNBC by any means. I understand volatility might be back a little bit, but man, it definitely is going down today overall. But Dennis says he's watching T. Let's go check out AT&T. Really moving back actually. And I'll tell you what, Dennis, I like this play. I like this if you're getting it for the longer term. I would definitely look at grabbing some shares down here. I'll be honest, I had some shares of AT&T at around like $28, $29, somewhere between there was my average price. I think if you're averaging somewhere right around here, you're getting in at a great time. I ended up exiting around like $32, $33, somewhere like up there at that top. I ended up being a pretty good play. I got paid dividends for those like 6 months that I was holding as well. So overall, Dennis, I think T can be an awesome trade. Overall, it's been good for me, especially for picking up shares. I think that that's definitely the way to go, is just to like grab some shares on it. Whenever you like look at those types of setups like AT&T or like Coca-Cola and stuff like that, I think that it shows, that these value stocks could start to come back, and we're starting to see pretty good like moves back to the upside. So overall, pretty decent here. AT&T is moving up, which is very nice to see. Let's go check out U, which is Unity Software. They're actually moving up very well, having some pretty good moves today, looking pretty good. So overall, I will say that Unity looks decent. Jorge says that Unity's trying to break the resistance at 106. It looks like it did break that resistance. It's just having some problems kind of moving. It's just a slow mover, but on the daily, Unity looks great. Actually, I think that this stock could really start to recover back, especially with it breaking the SMAs and starting to break those resistances. Like you said, Jorge, really solid setup. Thank you for turning me on to Unity. Actually, I really like the setup on this one. So thank you. I like I said, I really like it. And there's a lot of momentum, and I think it'll follow with a lot of these other tech stocks. Unity is just a great setup for the longer term, and they're in a great sector. So overall, just great stock and great movement in the short term. Let's go check out one of my favorite stocks really quick, Triple M. Let's see how they're kind of recovering up today. And on the daily, Triple M pulled right back to the 100 SMA, and we're starting to see some green candles here right off of that. So that's a pretty good sign actually to see some green candles out of these growth or out of these value stocks like Triple M, KO, all the banks. I mean, I'm glad to see them recovering up. It sucks to see kind of like, tech not recovering up quite as fast now, with these ones kind of going up a little bit faster, but overall it's still a pretty decent setup here out of these banks, and it's not bad by any means. So hopefully we can continue to see this type of movement out of the value stocks, but I still want to see movement out of tech. Like, even though banks are up, I still want to see Apple up. I still want to see Tesla up. I want the overall market to just kind of continue itself back to the upside, but on the daily, it's just looking pretty scary. We have that SPY just starting to look pretty strange, and it's just not looking the best, in the short term. So it's just definitely a hard thing to talk about with the market right now. But I will say going forward, like Apple's starting to recover up. I would say today just be a little bit more neutral on it. Russ, you said Apple's recovering little by little. It is starting to recover, but I will say that there's a lot of overhead resistance here, especially around 131. So just be pretty careful. I think that level might have a lot of problems getting broken today. And whenever we look at these stocks kind of going up here and recovering, they're not recovering up like past Friday's highs or anything like that yet. So keep in mind, they're just kind of recovering up compared to like today's movement. I will say that they could still move to the downside, which could be kind of scary. Hopefully that this wasn't just a little dip buy. Hopefully we start to see a solid move like up above 131 out of Apple, and then I think we'll see some decent moves here. Jorge gives the strong arm signal. Yeah, it's definitely strong here. Hopefully the market can kind of continue up here. We got the SPY really kind of coming back. On the 1 minute, it is kind of catching some red here, which is my only cause for concern. I will say is just the past couple minutes have been kind of going red, but SPY was my free day trade today in Discord, guys. I'll call it out for you guys right now. As my free day trade today, I was trying to get SPY up above 417.20, and once we passed above that, we saw SPY start to really move up, and would have been a very good day trade actually if you could have grabbed some like weekly SPY calls, or maybe some SPY calls that expire like on Wednesday, and got in a quick scalp to the upside there. Could have been a decent play. If you guys want to, definitely get plays like that, check out the Discord link in the description down below. If the link is not there, it's not working, let me know, and I'll just post one in the chat for you guys. But yeah, overall great movement today out of the SPY. It is starting to pull back though. The QQQ, it recovered back. It didn't break like the SPY did, so definitely not the best of move. QQQ is starting to come down now. Vicky says to check out MRVL. Please, let's go check it out. MRVL. Yeah, there is a solid resistance right around that 54 to 54.90, I should say, to 55 level. It's definitely hit off of that a few times in the past and fallen, kind of like what we just saw out of the stock today. So I'd be pretty careful with MRVL. I'll be honest, it's I like it for the long run, but in the short term, it's just right up here at this resistance. And if we start to see any type of pullback out of the market or out of tech stocks, I have a bad feeling that MRVL will kind of go down like with that market, and it just would be a bad sign because they're up so much that if they could pull back to $50 pretty easily, and it wouldn't even be that bad of a move if they pulled back to 50. I would say that that's pretty normal. So honestly, Vicky, I think it's a great stock. Looks like it has a lot of potential, but in the short term, there's just so much resistance that personally, I would almost look at it to the downside, if anything. Sean D says, NVIDIA falling hard, filling the gap. Let's go see it. NVDA, wow, it is kind of starting to really sell off here. Falling right below like 720. Not looking good. Looking at like the 1 minute chart, I will say it's not the best setup. It's not the worst by any means. It looks like we are kind of like at that support. Maybe we're like just breaking it. Hopefully we start to see more movement to the downside. If we do hold this support though and start to go back up, I would be a little bit worried. That's my only concern right now, is I would definitely look at NVIDIA to the downside, but we're just right along the support. Hopefully, like I said, we can just catch more downwards movement. It definitely looks like we are going to see that. So hopefully NVIDIA can just keep flying down, because it honestly seems like a great setup for puts. It's just NVIDIA is a pretty scary one, especially lately with the split and everything going on. I would definitely do a quick scalp on it. I would not be holding any puts like through market close or anything like that, but definitely if you want to trade some puts for it for a quick scalp, I think it could work, but I'd be careful around the support. It's having some trouble kind of falling down below that. Let's go check out NVIDIA's smaller brother, AMD, and then we'll go even check out their maybe their like less fortunate brother, Intel, over here, INTC. Let's go check out Intel. Yeah, Intel actually looks pretty decent, guys. I'd say for the longer term, Intel seems like a very solid. Seems like it's at a very solid level right now. Whether you want to sell some puts around the $53 support, or if you want to sell some at the 50 support or something, or if you want to grab shares here, I think it seems like a decent setup. And Intel CEO came out a few days ago and said that for the next 10 years, semiconductor stocks are expected to grow a ton. So honestly, I might be grabbing some Intel and a lot of different stocks like that for the longer run anyways. But just going forward, Intel stock definitely not looking bad. I think it definitely looks like it could have some potential in the short term and the longer term. It is like right on one of these trend lines and some of the SMAs. So we might start to see a little bit of a move back up, but we'll just have to see what happens. AMD looks like it is kind of selling off today. They were really actually looking good. Like they were going to maybe come back up to that like $90 resistance, but we're just seeing the market kind of pull back a little bit. Just a crazy scenario, and it's just sending those semiconductor stocks back to the downside. Corbin says, any idea on AAPL? Corbin, I will say I'm more bullish on it than anything, but I would just be more neutral. I like it to the upside. I'm pretty bullish on it. It moved well off support, and it kind of held that support pretty nicely around 129. So I do like that, but I just think that intraday, it's definitely a neutral setup to me. I wouldn't be trading it to the upside or the downside. We're getting close to some resistance around 131, and I think that we might have some trouble breaking that, and we might just kind of go flat. So that's my main concern with Apple, and that's kind of my main ideas with it as of right now. If we start to see tech and the overall market continue up and Apple starts to keep flying up, then good for Apple. Then I'll just trade it to the upside. But until we start to see it break out, I don't think I'm gonna go too bullish on it yet, Corbin. But definitely let me know what your ideas were for it. I think it'll be interesting to see. But overall, Apple was recovering up and is just flat. I would say look at it more for like over the next couple days rather than for today. I think today we might just see it kind of go flat. Sorry about that. I had to grab another quick drink, but let's go check out some of these other semiconductor stocks. We have like MU kind of coming down today, Qualcomm, QCOM moving to the downside. Definitely not the best. Philip says, what's happening to RUN? So Sunrun, yeah, Sunrun's coming back down today, down to around $49. I will say it seems like a lot of these stocks that have been really recovering, Philip, like Run has, RUN has been on fire, really recovering up from that support. So has Zoom, so has Palantir, so has DraftKings. And all these stocks are like starting to pull back like today and over the next couple days. And I'll be honest, it almost seems like they just had such good, weeks last week that they were just due for like a slight little pullback. And I'm not saying that the pullback is only going to last for one day, but just don't be too alarmed. Like we've seen a lot of up and down movement over the past few weeks. And just because we have one red day, I wouldn't be too concerned, but it is kind of, it's hard to say that whenever we have a 6% day to the downside. It definitely starts to make it seem a little scary. Just be a little scared, just be a little wary going forward because the market's starting to pull back a little bit. These growth stocks are coming down very slightly, but just keep in mind that there's going to be some up and down movement. So just be ready for that stuff. And this is why shares are one of the better ways to go, is because then you don't have to really worry about the timing of anything. You can just kind of hold it for the long run as long as you like that company. And that's what's so good about shares. But options, you can make a lot more with them if you catch calls like at the right time or if you catch puts at the right time. But honestly, I love selling puts to get shares. I think that that's one of the smartest trading strategies you can do, is like the wheel strategy, or just like selling puts, getting shares, and then selling covered calls off of those shares. It's definitely one of the smartest ways that you can trade the market. But whenever we're looking at things going forward, I think that RUN might be a good candidate to do that with soon. Same thing with DraftKings, like we're seeing it kind of come down in the short term also. Let's go check out like ARKK, see how they're kind of moving with all these growth stocks kind of pulling back. And they are kind of coming down, but they're only down like 1%. They're not down near as much as I would have expected, considering a lot of these growth stocks are falling. But that's why it pays to have diversification, and ARKK is definitely diversified pretty well. We have ARKX, the space ETF, kind of looking like it wants to go back to the upside here with some decent moves. So hopefully ARKX can kind of get back to the upside there and kind of move back, because definitely a crazy setup here. ARKX hasn't really done anything considering it's a space ETF. I think that for the long run, ARKX is going to do amazing, but in the short term, anything can happen, of course. Hunter saying to check out Peloton. Let's go check it out. Peloton really quick. Wow, yeah, I mean, I will say Peloton on the daily was looking very strong, but man, they hit that resistance and then they hit that 100 SMA and they just failed to break out, man. And I'll say it looks kind of bearish again. It looks like it might start to pull back to the downside. It almost seems like a setup like Palantir, Zoom, or one of those other ones, and like one of those stocks where they've been pulling back off that support so well that I'm just not surprised to see them kind of falling off to the downside a little bit now. I don't think that there's too bad of like movement per se out of Peloton, or I still think that they're great for the long run, but for the short term, it just seems a little bit bearish. If they can hold the support around $100, I think that'll really help them, but I have a bad feeling that they might end up breaking that and falling down. And let me know if you guys want me to check out any stocks before the stream ends. We will be ending in a few minutes, but definitely let me know if you want me to check out any stocks before we have to go here. But man, definitely let's go check out like gold and GLD, see how that's going today. You know, GLD was really selling off, especially like on a daily level. And on the 5-day, 15-minute, it looks pretty good. Like it's holding the 166 support. Kind of looks like it wants to move back to the upside. And man, it looks like a solid setup here. And let's see, there's like 168. Yeah, 168 is a solid resistance to the upside. So I would say as long as we can stay around 166, we might be able to hit 168 pretty safely. So seems like a pretty solid play out of GLD, but just keep in mind GLD is pretty risky, and gold is always a hard thing to trade. And let's go back to TRCH and check it out. And oh man, TRCH is now all the way down to $8.70. Looks like it's selling off pretty hard today, intraday, not looking good. AMC broke that $60 support. Definitely not looking good in the short term. Wow, looking pretty scary actually. Let's see, the low of days around 58.60. So looking pretty scary actually for AMC. I'd be a little worried if I was holding this right now, but you know what they say, guys, hodl, you know, hodl forever, and hopefully this thing will hit 1,000 a share, right? You know, everyone says that AMC is going to hit 1,000, so hopefully that can happen. Personally, I don't see it happening, but we'll have to see how it can go. Hopefully AMC can just hit $100 a share. You know, that's my first hope, is, you know, as long as it can hit 100, I think anything can happen after that, but $100 will be the first target for me out of AMC, especially after $70. But let's see, we got Taylor saying CRSR. Let's check it out. CRSR looking pretty good here. Actually, Corsair Gaming right along support. Actually, it looks like it fell just below support. Let's go check out the 1-year daily. Yeah, the daily's not terrible though. We're almost at support. So I think that for the longer term, Corsair is in a pretty decent area right now to grab some shares. Don't be surprised though if this one continues to fall down. If it breaks that 30 support, it could really start to sell off. So just keep that in mind. I would not go all in on it. I would just start to like average into some shares here and there. But overall, CRSR is a great stock. I love it for the long term. It's just how much lower can it go in the short term is the only question. We have Jason saying adding IVR and AUI. And man, I haven't heard AUI or IVR been talked about in a long time. But look at this, IVR. Let's go check it out on the Max Daily. Yeah, I mean, not the stock for me, but you know, I'll tell you what, if the mortgage market, or I should say if the housing market can start to get a lot better, or I will say, like, obviously this stock got killed during COVID, so hopefully this stock can start to recover up. Not saying the housing market's bad by any means, but just saying that a lot of these like mortgage stocks and stuff like that have all been kind of going down. Let's go check out AUI. Yep, they're kind of selling off. Hopefully Yamaha Gold can go back up. This was a gold stock, so hopefully this and gold can kind of go back to the upside and continue its trend back up. You know, it was unfortunate to see gold selling off. I think though for the next couple of years, gold will be awesome, and I think the AUI was a pretty smart stock to grab. Actually, I really like the pricing on that. So thank you, and thanks Taylor. Taylor says thanks Tom, you're doing good. I really appreciate that. Sean says, thanks for the call out to the downside on NVIDIA. Made an easy $100. Yeah, look at that. Let's go check out NVIDIA one last time on the 1 minute. Yeah, it just broke below that 720 support and just broke to the downside. Definitely could have been a good scalp there for some puts. Looked like a pretty decent setup there. So good trade, Sean. You know, good job identifying the setup and, you know, getting in that one. It was a pretty solid trade there for you. Corbin says he's seeing the 131 resistance. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Corbin. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Jason. Thank you to everybody who was commenting during the stream. I appreciate it. If you want to trade with Mike and I, check out the Discord link. I will post it in the chat in just a couple of seconds, but definitely check it out if you want to trade with us. We're in there trading all day long. We also call out free day trades in there. We call out free day trades, free swing trades, free day trades, and then we also have premium swing trades and also premium bot plays that get called out every single day. And the bot's been absolutely on fire lately, guys. Seems like the bot just it's almost too hot, you know, like it's been winning almost every single trade, at least like 5 to 10%. So it's definitely been going up. Definitely some good trades there, quick scalps. People have been making up the cost of their subscription on just one of these bot plays in a lot of scenarios. So definitely check it out. I appreciate it, guys, and have a good rest of your day.